Welcome to the Onion Buns. So in this week's episode of Adventures in IT, we're going to go into Alberta. Before we start that, as always, if you like the content I'm creating, please like and subscribe. And if you do like the content I'm creating, please share it. Easiest way to get eyes on it is sharing it. I'm trying to grow the channel, and that is the most simple and easiest way. Let everyone decide for themselves. All right, so this week we have a internet story. Full disclosure, as some might know, if you watched other videos on my channel, I'm a gamer. And I've been a gamer for probably since about, computer gamer, since about 1989, 1988, around there. So in the 2000s, early 2000s, I was playing a game called EverQuest, and it was created by a company called Verant. Now, being in Canada, we had a latency problem connecting to EverQuest servers sometimes, and you'd get randomly dumped, and yeah, it would be a bitch to reconnect. And this really affected people that were doing raids. It wasn't such a big deal if you're just playing the game because you're not really missing anything. But if you're in a raid, you got like 15 other people relying on you. And this was the hardest of all content. And if you're gone and suddenly can't reconnect for an hour, well, you're kind of screwing the other 15 players because they're relying on you, especially if your role was like as a cleric healer or something. So I had playing myself, I had run into issues where the servers would just disconnect me, toss me out, and I'd be gone for an hour, 2 hours before I could reconnect. And I had complained to Verant, and I'd always gotten back, oh, it's your cable, it's your cable, it's your cable supplier, your ISP, it's not us. And having the tools to do the pings and the trace routes and everything, I knew this was a load of crap by them. But you can't argue with these people, so I didn't. I just went about. So anyway, one night, one of my internet CSRs, he calls me over and he's like, so I got this girl and she plays a game you play, EverQuest, and she's complaining about being disconnected, but I've done the IP, I've done the trace route, I've done everything I can think of, and it always comes up to it's their server that's dropping her. I'm like, yeah, I'm fully aware of this. He goes, but she won't believe me because they are so adamant that it's her cable company. And he didn't know what else to do. He didn't play the game. He had no hands-on knowledge of it. So he said, can you please take this call and, explain this to her, because I can't get through to her. Okay, fine. So I get on there and I'm talking to her and I hear her story and I'm like, okay. And I know there's no sense in me saying it's Verant just directly. That comes off as you're passing the buck, exactly what Verant was doing to the cable companies. So I went about it as a different route. I said, okay, I'm going to ask you a few questions, see if I can't have you answer your own question. She's like, okay. I go, do you play any other games online? And she's like, yeah, I play Ultima Online. I'm like, now Ultima Online was the worst game for latency issues. Like, I remember I actually alpha tested Ultima Online, and to get across their small little town of Vesper, and to say it was a small little town means it was like 5 buildings. That's it. To get across it took me 2 hours one day, because I'd take a step and I'd freeze for 10 minutes. I'd take a step, I'd freeze for 10 minutes. Welcome to the early days of the internet. It wasn't pretty. So I asked her, I said, so how's your connection there? Oh, everything's great. So you're not having any problems? No, everything runs great. Okay. Do you play any other games? And she's, well, I play Diablo. I'm like, okay, well, that's on BattleNet. Now, BattleNet back then was the buggiest piece of crap out there. Like it was terrible. It didn't matter where you were in North America, you were going to get disconnected, you were going to freeze up. It was just, it was a bug fest. So I'm like, so are you having any troubles with BattleNet? I mean, and I said this, I said BattleNet is the most buggiest software out there. Like, if you're going to have any trouble, it's going to be with BattleNet. So no, Diablo runs fine. So we go through that. I go, okay, any other games? And she names a couple other games. I go, any problems with them? And she's, oh, no, everything runs fine. I go, so you're playing Ultima Online that is renowned for bad latency and you have no problems. Yeah. And you're playing on the buggiest platform on the face of the earth, BattleNet, and you're having no problems. Yeah. And you're playing all these other games and you're having no problems. Yeah, everything's fine. But when you load into EverQuest, suddenly you're dropped. Yep. I go, have you answered your own question? And she goes quiet for a couple minutes, and then it's like, fucking Varant. Unfortunately, this was very common. Companies back then, I'm not even going to pinpoint Varant for this one, even though they did it. Companies back then loved to blame the individual cable companies. And I'm sure some cable companies, I've done customer service for some of those cable companies, so I know for a fact some of those cable companies are terrible. But it's not everybody. And in Canada actually has really good ISP, cable suppliers, internet suppliers. Like, it actually is quite well managed. It's expensive, but for that cost, you get actually pretty good service, I must admit, except for one company out of Toronto that I'm just not going to name. So anyway, I was like, yeah, so have you answered your own question? She's like, I'm so sorry. They keep blaming you guys. So I just assumed they were telling the truth, and on. And she was cool and everything. And yeah, that was the end of the call. But it's so funny. It's like nobody wants to fix their problem. Everyone always wants to blame somebody else. And it's not, we see it nowadays too, but it's not a new scenario. So anyway, that was the story. I hope you enjoyed it. If you liked the video, leave a like and subscribe. If you didn't like the video, leave a dislike. Always feel free to leave a comment. Don't worry, I don't swing my cane too strongly anymore if I dislike your comment. And as always, pew 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 and shit. Thanks for watching. Bye.